Join Edwin Frondozo on the Business Leadership Podcast every week for a unique program featuring insights and actionable items from the world's most successful business leaders. Hear firsthand the exclusive interviews and personal journeys on how today's transformational leaders made it to the top.
Why did we check our email all the time? Was it a habit? Were we procrastinating? Is it a form of busy work? I used to have inbox anxiety about this until I systemized my inbox habit, the routine of checking my email. This is the Business Leadership Podcast, and I'm your host, Edwin Frondozo. Welcome. How are you? How's it going? Thank you for joining me today. This is episode number 106, and it's a special episode with just me. First off, I want to thank you for joining me today. I really, truly appreciate you. As time is such a valuable asset, and I feel honored that you decided to spend it with me. As mentioned, this is a special episode. It's a very short one with no interviews. It's just me and you. Well, I guess mostly me talking about time. So to start, I've got a question for you. If you were given an extra 10 hours a week, what would you do with it? Maybe you'll spend the time to read, maybe train for a marathon, write a book, or perhaps start a side business. I know, you are a very busy person. You're growing, you're leading, and you are living life to its fullest capacity. So when it comes to time to work on things that matter to you most, the special projects, I'm willing to bet at that point you're just exhausted and really no time left. When I was growing my podcast, my daughter was also growing, and at the time she was turning 1 year old. And funny enough, I was training for another marathon. It was the Chicago Marathon at the time. I don't know, I found myself always exhausted. I was jumping from one task to another, personal to business, business to personal, so forth and so on. I was looking for time everywhere. So I wondered to myself, where and how can I systematically find time given the fixed amount I get every day? One day, I did an exercise to track where I spent my time. Surprisingly, or maybe it's not surprisingly, I found myself spending the majority of my time on social media and doing email. So when I was working on my laptop, or when I was at the store waiting in line, or even when I was at a meeting or with a friend, not only was I checking whether I had new email, I would quickly open the message to see what it's about. And as soon as I did, whether I had an action or not, I would quickly close the email. It was a habit that felt harmless. But what if I got an email from a client that was bad news, or something that needed to be sent ASAP? And come on, let's be real. ASAP means as soon as you read this, aka my time, can you please reply? I can't be alone here. Does this sound familiar to you? This habit of checking emails did not allow me to be free of work, let alone spend time focusing on other things. Most importantly, the things that I wanted to do. So I wondered, why did we check our email all the time? Was it a habit? Were we procrastinating? Is it a form of busy work? I used to have inbox anxiety about this until I systemized my inbox habit, the routine of checking my email. Now let's be real here. Email is a chore. It's not fun. It is the work that we as leaders need to be on top of, as we don't want to be the bottleneck in any communications. And at the same time, we can't be reactive to email or be on someone else's time or agenda. I'm not sure if you ever achieved inbox zero, but if you have, you know what I'm talking about. Two things happen. One, a feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction, not the feeling of anxiety or that you're behind. How many of you say, I have to catch up to email? I mean, what does that mean, catch up? How much do you have to catch up? And secondly, you're not the bottleneck. Whether you are the key person in a project, a key executive, or perhaps you have to give final say on an approval, no one is waiting for you, which is awesome. For the last 3 months, I am happy to share that I've hit inbox zero every day. And I did it by creating a system. Oh my gosh, it feels great. I shared my empty inbox to social media a couple of times and I finally felt compelled to document my system by writing a short book that I wanted to share with you. And in the book, I share the strategies, the tools, and most importantly, some action items for you to achieve inbox zero every day. There is an accountability portion in the book from the action items that direct you to share your progress within my Facebook group. And by doing so, you will find other people who are going through the challenges as well. Others who are looking to not only create time in their life, but lose inbox anxiety and achieve inbox zero. You are not alone. The book is completely free. I don't even ask for your email address. I am just so happy to share what I've found and the system with you. So simply go to bit.ly.systemizemyinbox or check this episode page by going to thebusinessleadership.com/106. I am excited to hear from you. So when you do go through the book and do the action items, I would love to hear from you either on my Facebook page, social media, or directly via email. That's it, biz leaders. Thank you again for taking the time, seriously, the time to join me on today's special short episode. Funny enough, on time. It was episode number 106. So if you want to learn more about my book, please go to thebusinessleadership.com/106. Be sure to tune in next week. My guest is Dr. Ann Kavokian. She is recognized as one of the world's leading privacy experts. She's the former Information and Privacy Commissioner for the Canadian province of Ontario. She is presently the Distinguished Expert in Residence, leading the Privacy by Design Center of Excellence, and is also a Senior Fellow of the Ted Rogers Leadership Center at Ryerson University. We talk about her journey, her experience, and totally geek out, deep dive into the state of privacy in today's world. Join me on my private Facebook group where I will discuss this episode, answer your questions, and connect you with other like-minded business leaders. Simply search for the Business Leadership Group directly in Facebook. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe and rate the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening today. Thank you again. Edwin signing off.
Thank you for listening to the Business Leadership Podcast at thebusinessleadership.com.